Let's begin, but I warn you, this isn't comfortable. Definitely not what you want to hear. You feel it, don't you? That fleeting rush, that secret moment of release, followed by the heavy fog of shame, emptiness, and self-loathing. You tell yourself it's just a habit, a way to cope, a harmless escape from the grind of life. But deep down, you know better. That click, that screen, that solitary act, it's not just pleasure, it's pain. It's a chain you forged, link by link, every time you give into the urge to lose yourself in the blur. Why do you keep doing it? Why do you return again and again to something that leaves you feeling weaker, smaller, less alive? You call it a vice, a weakness, a personal struggle. But what if it's more than that? What if your compulsion isn't just a flaw, but a choice? A deliberate choice to suffer, to stay small, to avoid the truth about who you are. Socrates, that relentless Athenian philosopher from over 2,000 years ago, saw it coming. From the sunlit streets of Athens, questioning everyone who crossed his path, he delivered a diagnosis so brutal it still stings. You masturbate to suffer. You choose weakness because it's easier than facing the man you could be. You don't want to hear this. You want to believe it's no big deal, that it's just biology, that everyone does it. So why should you feel bad? But your life tells a different story. Your days are a haze of distraction, procrastination, and unfulfilled dreams. Your relationships falter under the weight of your unspoken shame. Your thoughts? A relentless cycle of craving, guilt, and despair, pulling you back to the same dark ritual. You're not just indulging, you're punishing yourself. And Socrates, with his piercing gaze and unyielding questions, would ask, why are you so afraid of your own strength? Why do you choose suffering over mastery? Here's the brutal truth. You don't masturbate for pleasure. You masturbate to escape the pain of living a life you know isn't yours. You're not chasing a high, you're running from reality, from the voice that knows you're meant for more. And the system? It loves your weakness. It feeds you endless streams of temptation designed to keep you hooked, distracted, and too drained to question the cage you're in. Socrates would call this a failure of virtue, a betrayal of your soul. You're not a man seeking truth, you're a man seeking suffering, and every click is a step deeper into the abyss. Socrates didn't write books. He didn't need to. His philosophy was a living fire, a relentless pursuit of truth through questioning. He believed the unexamined life is not worth living, that true wisdom comes from knowing yourself and facing what you find, no matter how ugly. For Socrates, virtue was strength, the strength to master your desires, to align your actions with reason, to live a life worthy of your soul. But you're not mastering anything. You're surrendering over and over to a compulsion that leaves you weaker with every act. Think about it. Why is pornography so pervasive? It's not just a business, it's a machine, a system designed to exploit your basest instincts. It's in every ad, every algorithm, every screen glowing in the dark. Click here, it says. Feel something. Forget everything. But what are you forgetting? The goals you've abandoned? The relationships you've neglected? The man you promised yourself you'd become? Socrates would say, you're not just forgetting, you're choosing to forget. You're choosing to drown your potential in a sea of fleeting pleasure because facing that potential terrifies you. Socrates' concept of arete, excellence, virtue, wasn't about perfection. It was about striving, about living deliberately, about refusing to let your lower impulses rule you. But every time you give in to the urge, you're rejecting arete. You're choosing akrasia, weakness of will, acting against your better judgment. You know it's wrong, you know it hurts you, but you do it anyway. Why? Because suffering feels familiar. Because weakness feels safe. Because the man you could be, the man Socrates would demand you become, is too daunting, too demanding, too real. Look at your life. Really look at it. Your nights blur into secret sessions, your mornings into regret, your days into a fog of distraction. You chase the rush, but it's never enough. You promise yourself you'll stop, but you don't. You hide your shame, but it leaks out in your anger, your avoidance, your inability to look yourself in the eye. You're not just masturbating, you're punishing yourself. You're reinforcing a cycle of weakness, a ritual that says, this is who I am, this is all I'm worth. Socrates would call this a failure of self-knowledge. He said the greatest task is to know yourself, to examine your desires, your fears, your choices. But you're not examining anything. You're running, hiding, numbing the part of you that knows you're betraying yourself. Every click is a lie you tell yourself, that this will make you feel better, that this will fill the void, that this is just a small thing, not a big deal. But it's not small. It's a chain, and you're the one tightening it around your soul. Have you ever stopped to ask why you keep returning to this? Why you crave the momentary escape when it always leaves you worse off? It's not just lust. It's not just biology. It's fear. Fear of facing the truth, that your life as it is isn't what you want, that your relationships, your work, your purpose, they're not enough. And that truth, it's unbearable. So you run. You run to the screen, to the rush, to the haze, because at least there you don't have to face yourself. At least there you can pretend you're not suffering. Society sells you a lie. Masturbation is normal, healthy, natural. Everyone does it, they say. It's no big deal. It's just stress relief. But Socrates would scoff at that. He'd say, you're not relieving stress, you're creating it. You're not embracing your nature, you're enslaving it. The system loves this lie. It profits from your addiction, feeding you endless content to keep you hooked, to keep you weak, to keep you too drained to question why you're living a life that's not yours. The myth of harmless pleasure is a trap. It tells you that your compulsion is private, personal, inconsequential. But look at the consequences. Your energy is sapped. Your focus is fractured. Your confidence is eroded. You're not just losing time, you're losing yourself. Socrates would call this a betrayal of your daemon, your inner spirit, the voice that guides you toward truth and virtue. Every time you give in, you're silencing that voice, choosing suffering over strength, weakness over wisdom. And the system? It's complicit. It's designed to keep you distracted, to keep you consuming, to keep you too numb to rebel. Socrates didn't offer comfort. He offered truth. And his truth is merciless. You masturbate to suffer because suffering is easier than striving. It's easier to give in to your impulses than to master them. It's easier to hide in the haze than to face the light. He'd say, your compulsion isn't a disease, it's a diagnosis. It's a symptom of a deeper failure, the failure to live deliberately, to examine your life, to choose virtue over vice. For Socrates, the good life wasn't about pleasure, it was about eudaimonia, a state of flourishing that comes from living in alignment with your highest self. But you're not flourishing. You're wilting, withering under the weight of a habit that's stealing your strength. Every act is a vote for weakness, a choice to stay small, a refusal to face the man you could be. And the worst part? You know it. You feel it every time the rush fades, every time the shame sets in, every time you promise yourself you'll stop but don't. Socrates' diagnosis is a call to arms. Stop running, stop hiding,
Stop choosing suffering over strength. The system wants you weak, addicted, distracted, because a weak man doesn't question. A weak man doesn't fight. A weak man keeps the machine running. But you're not meant to be weak. You're meant to be a warrior, a seeker, a man who faces his demons and demands better of himself. So how do you stop? How do you break free from a cycle that's defined you for too long? Socrates didn't offer self-help tips. He offered a way of life. Here's how you begin. Stop calling it harmless. It's not a habit, it's a chain. See it for what it is, a choice to suffer, a betrayal of your potential. Examine your triggers. When do you give in? When you're stressed, lonely, afraid? Those are the moments your weakness exploits. Name them. Channel the urge. Don't just resist it, redirect it. Lift weights, write, create, move. Turn the energy of your desire into something that builds you, not breaks you. Audit your life. Is your compulsion the only lie you're living? What else are you avoiding? Your purpose? Your relationships? Your truth? Face yourself. Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living. Look at the man in the mirror. Ask him, why do I choose suffering? What am I afraid of becoming? This isn't about shame or moralizing. It's about truth. It's about refusing to let your impulses define you, to let the system keep you weak, to let suffering be your story. Socrates' philosophy is a challenge. Live deliberately, choose virtue, master yourself. The revolution you need isn't in a new habit, it's in a new way of being, a way that starts with facing the truth you've been avoiding.